You're listening to the Full Court Press podcast, hosted by Drew Duncan. Don't you dare touch that dial. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. We are live. Don't forget, I'm always on Twitter. That's at Drew Duncan83. Of course, the official fan page of Full Court Press is on Facebook. You can reach me there at Drew Duncan83 as well. And of course, I am on Instagram at Drew Duncan83, though I must confess, I don't use Instagram a whole lot. I've heard it said that old people use Facebook and young people use Instagram. I guess I'm old then. I'm only 33, but I guess I'm old. I don't get it. I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. Things that we're not going to talk about on the program today. Because I'll tell you what we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about how the Golden State Warriors absolutely positively had to get KD in order to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to ask questions like, where is Kevin Durant when the Oklahoma City Thunder needed him? Where was he? Well, we're not going to do that either. Tell you what we are going to talk about. Is how Kevin Durant scored 176 points by himself. We can talk about that. We can talk about his 42 rebounds. We can talk about that. We can talk about his 30 assists. We can talk about his 10 blocks. We can do that. How he had 5 in one game. Matter of fact, in one game during the NBA Finals, Kevin Durant on the floor led in points with 33, rebounds with 13, and blocks with 5. Kevin Durant was the hungry guy in this NBA Finals. He was the best player in these NBA Finals. And that's all there is to it. I mean, it's literally the bottom line. Very literally the bottom line. That's where it is. The only thing about the finals to me that really jumps out beyond the obvious camaraderie that KD, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson have with each other and the rest of the Warriors basketball team, along with Steve Kerr and the phenomenal coaching job that he's done, his assistant and the phenomenal job that he's done in lieu of serious health issues for Steve Kerr in helping make sure that this team stayed together and kept the continuity going. The only other thing that really, truly stands out to me is that during this finals, I felt like I watched the same game 5 times. It really was the same game 5 times. Tight first quarters. Both teams really running up and down the floor at will. Both teams playing great basketball throughout pretty much the entire game. It's just that one team would basically pull away and we would see the other team get within striking distance and occasionally even take the lead back. But then we would see the team that wanted it more that day or just played slightly better that day in one facet or another win the game. When the Cleveland Cavaliers won Game 4, they basically played like the Warriors in the other 4 games that they won. Let me tell you what it took to beat the Golden State Warriors in Game 4. They out-rebounded the Warriors. Was it 57-33, if I remember correctly? They outshot the Warriors from 3-point range, 24 out of 45 in that game. And they scored over 130 points, and it took an 80-point first half to make sure that it happened. Because, mind you, Golden State shot 55% and scored 60 points, and were still down by 18 at one point in the third quarter. That's what it took to beat the Golden State Warriors. It's not like the Cavaliers don't have firepower, because they do. They have LeBron James, they have Kyrie Irving, they have Love, they have Tristan Thompson, and they went down swinging. They really did. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. Too much KD, too much Curry, too much Thompson. Who's received a lot of credit for playing great defense. And in the first game, he did. He really stifled Kyrie Irving. In the last few games in this series, not so much. And LeBron James did everything that he could. Kyrie Irving did everything that he could. I mean, they really went down swinging. The Cavaliers did. It's just that during this season, this revenge tour, I guess you could call it, they had a guy named Kevin Durant who was hungry. I'm not going to get into the outstanding losing record that the Oklahoma City Thunder have in the playoffs when Russell Westbrook takes more shots than KD. I'm not going to get into that. What I am going to say is this, is that this Kevin Durant has been around for the majority of all playoffs. And in 2012, when the Golden State Warriors faced the Miami Heat, it wasn't a team effort to win. It seemed like it was a team effort in a loss. Harden and several other players just could not keep a hold of the ball. They just could not. And I think that's the difference that I see. You know, the Oklahoma City Thunder to me always played like a bunch of individuals on a team. It's just not what the Warriors do. And one of the things that Kevin Durant said when he very first got there that really stood out to me, it was right after a preseason basketball game, is he said, you know, the difference between when I was in Oklahoma City and when I got here was Coach Kerr very first said to me was, hey man, if you feel it, let it go. Just play your game, whatever you're feeling for that game, play it. Whether it's scoring or assists. And that's the kind of coach that Kerr is. He understands the flow of the game. Yeah, the majority of every game that you go into, you're going to have a game plan. But let's be honest. A lot of times the game plan gets skewed. You have to make adjustments. And when you make those adjustments, that's what separates the good teams from the great teams. Because the great teams can make those adjustments and win. The good teams will either not make the adjustments in the first place and come close but no cigar, or they'll make the necessary adjustments and still not be able to follow through. Because they'll just revert right back to wasn't working anyways. That's the difference with the Golden State Warriors. And Kevin Durant was far and away the best player in the NBA Finals. And by the way, the first man to give him a hug with 3.4 seconds still left on the clock, LeBron James. Understanding what he's going through emotionally. that doesn't tell you the respect that LeBron has for KD, then my friends, I don't know what does. You've been listening to the official Full Court Press podcast, hosted by myself, Drew Duncan. Don't forget, you can always find me on Twitter. That's at DrewDuncan83. Of course, the official Full Court Press podcast is on Facebook. You can also reach me there at DrewDuncan83 as well. For all you Instagrammers, I am on there at DrewDuncan83. Thank you so much for tuning in.